Hi, my name is George Shaler, and I'm the board president of the Justice Information Resource Network. This interview is part of a JIRN series titled Justice Insights: Conversations with the SACs. I'm here today with Lena Dechert, who, along with Amber Martinez, Emily Grant, Brooke Benson, and Laurel Wimbush from the Wyoming Survey and Analysis Center, were recently awarded JIRN's Douglas Yearwood Prize for its report titled Addressing Intimate Partner Homicide in Wyoming, a Comprehensive Analysis of Fatalities from 2014 through 2023 that we'll learn more about in a moment. Before we get started, I'd like Lena to introduce herself. Lena, please let the viewers know your role with the Survey and Analysis Center.
Hello, my name is Lena Dechert, and I'm an assistant research scientist at the Wyoming Survey and Analysis Center at the University of Wyoming.
So Lena, can you tell me a little bit more about the impetus behind the project? Like what research problem or policy question or program need were you trying to address in this study?
So this project was funded by the United States Bureau of Justice Statistics through its state justice statistics program, specifically under the Capacity Building Initiative. And at the Wyoming SAC, we spend a lot of time with our state partners trying to figure out where research might really help fill a gap. And in one of those conversations, we had learned from a state partner that Wyoming has a formal process for reviewing child fatalities, but there isn't anything similar for adult domestic violence fatalities in our state. So that stood out to us. We decided to do a sort of mock domestic violence fatality review board, which is something that 45 other states already have, but obviously Wyoming does not. So our goal was really to learn as much as we could about these homicides, identify risk factors and system gaps, and ultimately try to find ways that Wyoming might be able to improve its response to domestic violence and hopefully prevent future deaths.
Great. Uh, Lena, can you give me a brief overview of the methodology, approach, or the data you used in doing this study?
Sure. So in short, we gathered a lot of data. We pulled from victim compensation records, criminal histories, vital records, police reports, coroner's dockets, newspapers, obituaries, and pretty much any other public information that we could get our hands on or that you can imagine. And we
Mhm.
built all of this into a Microsoft Access database and used methods other states applied in their fatality reviews. So it's important to note that at this point, we also narrowed our focus to intimate partner homicide specifically, and we were able to identify and then review all 40 of the intimate partner homicide cases in Wyoming that occurred over the last 10 years. So we looked at demographics, geography, relationship dynamics, causes of death, criminal histories, and risk factors. And we also were able to run retrospective lethality assessments for our female victims using a weighted scoring system to measure how much danger they were in before their deaths. And then to broaden the picture, we also reviewed non-fatal intimate partner violence data from 2024.
Wow. Uh, Very comprehensive. So, Lena, what were the main results or the most important outcomes from your study?
So we found a lot of really interesting things, but narrowing it down to just a few key findings. When we ran the lethality assessments, we found that most of our female victims faced clear, measurable risks. So in fact,
Mhm.
30% were in the highest danger level, meaning immediate action would have been needed to save their lives. Another 40% were still in categories of serious danger. Second, almost half, I think about 45% of perpetrators had a criminal history in Wyoming, often for a violent crime, sometimes including domestic violence. But very few of our victims actually had a criminal record. Third, none of our victims had active protection orders at the time of their deaths, and in the non-fatal cases, only 3% had involved a protection order violation. In 30% of cases, the victims had already threatened or even attempted to kill their victim in the recent past, as reported by family and friends. And then finally, one of the strongest predictors that we found was a documented history of violence in the relationship. So in at least 63% of our cases, abuse had been reported by a loved one after the homicide. So what's interesting, though, despite the fact that it seems like a lot of people were aware of the abuse, we didn't really see any prior calls to service, calls for service to law enforcement before the deaths.
So, Lena, what are the practice implications or policy implications for this report?
Sure. So I just want to note too, we in no way want to blame any agency or group. We didn't have anything that we found that would suggest that any agency, stakeholder, family member, friend, no one was at fault in this analysis. But that being said, we do think that there's a few tools we could put into people's toolboxes that would help a little bit. And two of those really clearly is one, we believe Wyoming should implement a formal permanent domestic violence fatality review board so that this learning process can continue. And then second, the state should adopt a standardized lethality assessment tool that can help flag high-risk cases before it's too late.
Wow. Lena, I want to thank you. This is a tremendous study, and you and your colleagues deserve a lot of credit. I think there's a lot of utility not only for the state of Wyoming, but for other states as well. And again, want to congratulate you on winning the Yearwood Award, and thank you for doing this report.